Trump supporters across the country are learning the hard way that Donald Trump, the convicted felon, the proven abuser, the proven business fraudster, is actually, surprisingly, not a great guy. And he's not great at being president. You're seeing stories like this across the country, like the one on your screen right now. The headline from USA Today: he voted for Trump. Now his wife sits in an ICE detention center. That's right. Bradley Bartell and his wife, Camila Munoz, had a familiar small-town love story before they collided with immigration politics. They met through mutual friends, had a first date at the local steakhouse, married after 2 years, and were saving to buy a house and have kids. You know, a typical American story. But last month, on their way home to Wisconsin after honeymooning in Puerto Rico, an immigration agent pulled Munoz aside in the airport. The agent asked, "Are you an American citizen?" She answered, no, she wasn't. She's from Peru. But she and her husband had taken the legal steps so that one day she might get U.S. citizenship. And this is a story we're seeing so often right now, where even if you are taking steps to be a legal U.S. citizen, Donald Trump doesn't care. He will deport them anyway, regardless of how inhumane it is. He will just target you ruthlessly. Millions of Americans, including Bartell, had voted for Donald Trump. That's the thing. This man in this relationship voted for Donald Trump. He voted for Donald Trump's promise to crack down on illegal immigration and just immigrants generally. And now his wife is sitting in an ICE detention center. Trump has rapidly expanded his efforts to crack down on illegal immigration, leading to so many stories like this. And here's the important point. Even those married or engaged to U.S. citizens are being detained by ICE because of Donald Trump. And this story got worse. It took days for Bartell to find his wife after she was detained at the airport. Trump's team just picked her up, took her somewhere, and he had no idea where she was. It was nearly a week before she appeared in the ICE detention system. Her name finally, after a week, turned up in an online locator assigned to a privately run detention center in Louisiana. On a video call, her black curls hang askew. She wears a tan uniform reflecting her lack of criminal record, hasn't committed a crime in the United States, but she was picked up at an airport and taken somewhere regardless. There are nearly 80 other women in this dormitory with her. The cost of taxpayers for detaining an adult was $282 per day in 2020. And this is a familiar occurrence right now. The USA Today has confirmed through attorneys, family members, and documents that ICE has detained for weeks multiple people, like a woman in her 50s who lived in the country for more than 30 years and is married to a U.S. citizen, being detained regardless of having no criminal record. This is the Trump administration's policy. Even if you haven't broken the law, even if you're here working a job, you have a family, you have kids, your kids are currently in school, they will pick you up, take you to a detention center, even if you're taking legal steps. And it just gets so much worse the deeper you kind of look into this MAGA loyalty to Trump, so much so that they ignore their own circumstances and vote to elevate Donald Trump anyway. Like, we're seeing this measles outbreak in the United States right now, which is primarily affecting a lot of Republican areas with low vaccination rates. We just saw that the first measles death in the United States in years, about a story of someone who's anti-vax and kind of subscribes to a lot of the Republican ideology surrounding vaccines, subscribing to RFK Jr.'s views on vaccine. Here's an article from The Atlantic. His daughter, the headline, his daughter was America's first measles death in a decade. A really tragic story of a young girl dying from measles, a disease that we thought we wiped out, but then Trump and his guys got in there questioning the efficacy of medicine. Peter's daughter had been sick for 3 weeks. The family knew it was measles. He said they took her to the hospital at one point and she was given cough medicine. That's all, he recalled. They just said, go home. They don't want to help us. They say it's just normal, go home. A spokeswoman for the Seminole Hospital District declined to comment, citing privacy laws. It wasn't normal though. Her condition continued to get worse, so they brought her back to the doctor. She just kept getting sicker and sicker. He told me her lungs plugged up. Her heart rate and blood pressure dropped, and the doctors put her on a ventilator. We were there Saturday till Monday, 3 days, and then it was worse, very bad. Peter, the father of this young girl who passed away, shook his head and stared at the ground. He said his daughter died on Tuesday night from pneumonia, which is a common infection in severe measles cases. Peter's daughter was not vaccinated. Mennonite doctrine does not prohibit inoculations or modern medicine in general, though this journalist encountered plenty of suspicion among Mennonites about just modern medicine. Peter said that he had doubts about vaccines too. He told me that he considers getting measles a normal part of life, noting that his parents and grandparents had it. Everybody has it, he said in a quote. It's not so new for us. He'd also heard that getting measles might strengthen your immune system, which is totally false against other diseases, a view that, of course, RFK Jr. has promoted in the past. But perhaps most of all, Peter worried about what the vaccine might do to his children, saying, quote, "This vaccination stuff, we don't trust. We don't like the vaccinations, what they have these days. We heard too much and we saw too much." He then went on to say that essentially the death of his daughter is God's will, and that he had it planned for her. This utter delusion that so many of these people live in the United States, where they believe that this anti-vax, anti-science view is just the way it should be, and that what RFK Jr. is promoting is just the way it should be. It's harmful, and it's legitimately leading to people dying, like this young girl who should be alive right now and going to school, but instead this misinformation that Trump and so many others have injected into American society is killing people. No joke. This is not hyperbole. People are dying as a result. And the last example I want to show you of this is someone writing a paragraph just 26 days ago on Reddit talking about how they regret voting for Donald Trump. The first line of their paragraph, "I'm starting to miss Biden." The first thing they said. He had inflation under control towards the final part of his term. He was handling Russia so well that they had to resort to North Korea for help in Ukraine, CHIPS Act, and whatnot. And they go on to target Joe Biden for a variety of reasons. But then saying, "I voted for Trump. I regret voting for him." And at the bottom here, I think this is significant. Today, Trump lost a whole lot of respect from me. He called Zelensky, or however you spell it, a dictator. He said Ukraine started the war. He's on track to make all the concessions possible. He's handing Europe to Putin. It seems as if maybe Russia really did interfere in 2016 to put him in. You're just seeing this broad regret, buyer's remorse from people all over the country, either because they're just watching Donald Trump mess up, watching Donald Trump do whatever our adversaries want him to do, or that they're being personally impacted by Donald Trump's policies, like the woman who's detained in an airport after coming home from honeymooning with her legal resident husband, or even people losing their family members because of the views that Donald Trump and RFK Jr. have injected into American society. You're seeing broad regret, and I think that this is going to expand more. And of course, Donald Trump's approval rating is cratering right now. It's collapsing because a lot of people who just voted for their groceries to be cheaper, voted for their gas to be cheaper, are seeing Donald Trump increase prices, destroy the American economy, lose respect for the United States on the world stage, and embrace dictators. I think you're going to continue to see this trend and more of perhaps your MAGA family members hopefully saying, yeah, we made a mistake. So anyway, just wanted to bring these couple stories to your attention. I think it's all very fascinating. And as I mentioned, going to expand in my view. I will leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe down below. It goes an incredibly long way. Also drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about these stories. And as always, I appreciate you a lot. Have an amazing rest of your night, and we will talk soon.